We are live here at the offices of Scarce City. I am Chris Tremount, your host today, Chief Executive Pleb at Scarce City. Today we are auctioning off EXPLOIT Continuum by my man RYR. This is a super sick piece. You got to get into the details and get into the story to fully appreciate this thing. We're going to get into all of that with the artist himself here shortly, but before I welcome him on, I'm going to do a quick rundown of how Lightning Auctions work. The auction is live. We are accepting bids. If you want to place a bid, come down here, input how much you want to bid in sats. We do the USD math for you. We tell you how much you need to deposit with your bid as collateral. Input an email address with that bid. It can be any email address as long as you have access to it, and your display name. Your display name is what shows up here in the bid table with your bid. Your email address stays private. Once you're okay with everything you got here, you select place bid. We give you some more important information, and then we direct you over to BTC Pay server to pay an invoice for your bid deposit, preferably over Lightning to save you on fees and make it instant and quick. But you can pay on chain. Just expect to pay a premium on those fees. And we do require confirmation for those on-chain bids, and we disable them within the final 15 minutes. Once the auction's over, the highest bidder has 24 hours to pay their high bid. And as long as they do, everybody gets their sats back at the end. If they do not, the second highest bidder has their chance to pay their high bid. All right, so we already got a bidder on the board. We got RYR Skrilla, the auction killer, on the scoreboard for 1 million sats. Oh, one more thing. We got a pretty new feature here. If you want to unlock what I'm calling God mode, all you need is 500,000 sats. It's equivalent of about 287 USD current prices. Just come in here, register, put in your email address, authenticate your email address, and put down this deposit. With that, you can place unlimited bids. You don't have to pay an invoice with each individual bid, and you can bid as high as you want. It's pretty fun once you're in there. All right, so check it out. And without further ado, I'm going to welcome on our artist, RYR. How you doing, man?
Hey, Chris. I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Grateful to be a part of this. Grateful to have you here to share it with us.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm very excited. It's been quite a journey since we started, and you see every week we have another surprise and another great artist showing his art.
Absolutely, man. You've been involved from the very beginning and have been giving us feedback all along the way, helping us to create this thing to the best of our ability. And it's fantastic to finally have your artwork, which I've been obsessed with from the beginning, to be able to showcase this and hold an auction for you. Really blessed to have the privilege.
Yeah, I feel the same, Chris. When we started this journey and the first pieces came online, it really set the bar high for me as well. Not in a quality way or in an art way, but I was thinking to myself, man, I gotta do something which just turns up a notch. And yeah, I'm really honored what I can show today, and it's even for my standards and for my pieces I normally do. It's something else.
Absolutely, man. You brought the heat on this one, and we're going to get into all the details. Before we do, I want to start off with a video, which I feel like kind of sets the stage for our conversation. Let me find it here real quick. All right, here we go. right. So we had what looked like there as big bags of dirty fiat banknotes. I understand whatever you can't tell us about that, but what can you tell us about that?
Well, you showed the video of the trash corner of my studio. Well, shall we just go back and start with the beginnings when I started making art with fiat and talk about that and just take it from there?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. So if you really want to go back, I've always been since I'm 14. I did graffiti and I started doing graffiti. And in graffiti, you are this unknown person and this in this secret society, and you wanna always tell a message. You wanna spread out your name and you wanna get famous and within the group, within this secret society. But actually, you're kind of a rebel, and I always kept that during all the years I did graffiti. But I came to a point when I grew up where this just wasn't enough for me. And after doing trains and walls and all this stuff, I really got my hands into fine art, and I still wanted to tell a story, and I still wanted it to be a little bit more secretive. So I was looking for this kind of story. And if you think about it, or when I thought about it, the best story ever told is actually the story about money, because we believe the story that this piece of paper, which is worth actually nothing except the paper and the ink on it, represents a kind of value. And when I was starting this journey and I found out that there's actually shredded money, so devalued paper, I said, I'm going to be that person again, that graffiti artist who uses this material, and I will try to revalue it as a new story. And so I started sourcing this material, which wasn't quite easy, and I found a really crazy dude in Germany who has around 500 kilos of that stuff. So that's 1,000 pounds.
Wow.
And yes, and I talked to him, and he didn't want to sell anything because he was selling it as small souvenirs. But finally, he really liked the idea what I want to do with it, and I bought quite a lot of this this chunk. And I started. So in 2017, in 2016, I started doing this artwork with the handcrafted paper. And the first paintings, I only used my thumb and ink. And I made just typographic pieces. And I thought the right way to do it is to have a gallery show. And I found a gallery here in Germany, in Cologne. And the first show was in 2017. And yeah, that's how it all started. And as not many know, I have a really good friend, and he's now part of our group, which I'm really proud of. It is Zitra, and Zitra just told me, "Hey, the show was very dope and great, and I saw you used money. Have you heard about Bitcoin?" And I said, "Yeah, there's something about crypto, but I don't trust it, and I don't know what's the story." And he really got me into it. So yeah, I started digging into it, reading about it, reading the white paper as everyone did, and I was blown away. And I really found finally a new story I can be part of. In my opinion, still in the beginning, and from an artist view, really in the beginning. And yeah, that's how I started doing graffiti on money paper. So if you zoom in into maybe you show a little details, Chris.
Yeah.
When you zoom in, you will see that I paint on actual money. Yeah.
I love these zoom images because it's like the only way to fully appreciate the level of detail here. And there's like just so much texture there, and it's kind of like a beautiful chaos, man. I don't know how else to describe it. And it's like when you're zoomed out, you don't see that. You really have to zoom in to get the full character of this work.
Yeah, I really have to thank an artist, Ekaitza, because he helped me sourcing the US dollar money, which I also bought quite a lot of. So yeah, thanks, man.
That's super cool, man. So what I think is so fascinating about your story is you were fascinated about the story of money before discovering Bitcoin.
Yeah,
So it's like I feel like I certainly resonate with this, and I feel like a lot of people in Bitcoin resonate it with where it's like you're searching for Bitcoin before you know it exists, or before you fully understand what it represents, right? Like it's like the problem's there and it's kind of itching at you, but like you don't know what the solution is, and then you find Bitcoin and it's like an aha moment. Is that how it was for you?
yeah, it's the same. I was raised quite. My parents are really nice, and they taught me well. And I'm not a socialist, but I like to be fair to people, and I like to make don't screw anybody. And if you see this whole the whole world around money and the history, because I hope we get into this too, the history about money, how it all started, because we don't know, we haven't been there. But if you see the stories and you read the stories, it's full of unfairness and hate and inequality, and yeah, when I finally read there's something decentralized and no, everyone is actually equal in this. I was fascinated, and yeah, I since then I'm hooked, or as many people say, I'm actually all in.
Right. Then 100%, man. I mean, it's like you've clearly dedicated your talents and your work to this. You can't get
And to
any
be
more
clear,
bought in than
Chris,
that.
yeah, sorry to interrupt. Here in Germany, it's if you think this is all still early, here in Germany, nobody knows anything. Now it's in the news, or there are news about not just Bitcoin, also crypto. But sometimes when I'm on the street, I heard people chatting, and it's all still bullshit. They're talking, but you see there's something developing. There's another secret coming out. And hopefully it's going to be told in a true way, but the only true way I see is Bitcoin, and not any other story.
Yeah, that's fascinating because it's like, on like Bitcoin Twitter, you're always hearing parallels from the current day to the Weimar Republic. I'm probably saying that wrong. But I would think that, Germans being most familiar with that history, once they fully understand Bitcoin, would really appreciate it probably more than most cultures.
Yeah, well, here in Germany, there's actually the Germans. They like cash. If you go to the supermarket, the young people, they pay cashless, but the older people, they all have the bills. They still like to hodl their fiat. But yeah, that's how it is right now, and I'm pretty confident that we will see a huge change within the next few years. Yeah.
Well, I do want to talk more about the history of money because obviously it seems as though you've learned a lot about it. So I'm fascinated to hear what's kind of been most interesting to you. But I want to set that conversation up with just an incredible another work of art that you created alongside this. I'm going to play another video for us.
This kingdom is mine and mine alone. There are bigger sacrifices one might be asked to make. Put these in circulation. The only thing that scares me is being forgotten.
Man's free will is his most prized asset.
Money. The greatest story ever told. Are we ready? I am. $16.37, $17.97, $18.19, $37, $57, $84, $19.01, $07, $29, $19.37, $19.74, $19.87, $92, $97, $2000. It's all just the same thing over and over. We can't help ourselves.
The losses staggering.
It's just money. Pieces of paper with pictures on it. It's made up. It's made up.
Geometric patterns move in synchronous order. 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 Geometric patterns move in synchronous order.
I'm telling you, this is it.
Geometric patterns move in synchronous order. Geometric patterns move in synchronous order. Geometric patterns move in synchronous order. Geometric patterns.
I have goosebumps. I have goosebumps from watching that, RYR. Like, what? First, you got to tell me. I haven't had the chance to ask you. Did you create these videos?
My best friend, I told you before we started to go live. My best friend, he's an editor and he lives in New York. But we grew up together, and actually he's the first guy I did graffiti with. He cut it. He did all the editing. He did it all and put it together. But we talked for hours and days until we got to this point. Yeah. So it's a collaboration between me and Leo. I'm sure he's watching. He's the best. Yeah. And I got an email that John Malkovich, he wants to play Krösus. So we're on track to make a movie.
All right. So this is the original IP for the upcoming movie. Props to Leo out there.
Yeah, Leo, thank you, my man. The thing is, in my opinion, as artists, and so as a result, the artworks, I think we are in this because we have to ask questions and not give the answers to anything. And I don't want to sound like a coward because of that, but I think these trailers, the idea for these movies or these short movies there's so many hidden Easter eggs in these movies. I want the people to watch it over and over and over again, and you hear it also in the movie or in the trailer. And I wanted the people to get curious and to ask them what is this about, and what's my opinion on this, and what could it be. So don't tell everything in one piece, and let the people get to a point where they ask questions and they want to know something. And as a result, I give them more questions. I don't give answers.
I love that. So, all right, without giving away all the answers, we just saw, 2 consecutive movies, 2 different stories. What are those stories to you?
Again, because I'm reading a lot, and if you when I started to use money, actually I started in the process when banknotes were minted, and I didn't bother looking even when did it all started, and researching the whole issue. I found this king, this emperor Krösus. And maybe, I don't know if it's in America or in other countries, but in Germany, if you want to call somebody, that he's somebody who has way too much money, you call him Krösus. So it was logical for me to research it, and I found out that this dude, he minted gold coins. And just imagine, thousands of years ago, first, how do you get gold? How do you nominate it as a value? And then minting coins and then get him all over the world and be respected as a kind of value. It was kind of unbelievable for me. And I said, if this whole artwork has to work, we have to start here. So I call this Croesus Lydiae Rex, which was his title. So it's Croesus, King of Lydia, which is the region of Turkey today. But yeah, for some people they don't know, but actually in my artwork there's always something written. It's not just a maze, or it's actually always typography. So there's always something written in it. I remember, just to jump around a little bit, I sold an artwork to Josie Bellini, and she loved it. And I don't know, I think months went past, and I told her that actually there's something written in it. And she freaked out because she just liked it as is. And yeah, there was something in it. And yeah, that's actually happened quite a few times. So people buy my artworks because they like this whole painting on money. But when they found out that actually there's something written on it, they freak out in a positive way. But that's what I said. I'm not here to tell you everything, because otherwise art could be or can get very boring. So even today, if I look into my own paintings, I always find something. I found another detail, because it's all made by coincidence. I can't regulate where I put the money or where the money is put. I can't regulate each dot of paint because I throw it on my paintings. And yeah, that's what I love, and that's what I stick with.
Yeah, I can certainly identify with that. I saw your artwork, just kind of, Bitcoin art Twitter, if that's even really a thing. I think it's a thing now, but I don't know if it was really a thing then. And I loved it. I loved the aesthetic of it, but I didn't realize that there was a message in there. And it took actually Chief Monkey. He was talking to me about you, and he was like, "Yeah, but do you really see it?" And he was like, "Do you see what it says?" And then once you see the writing, it's like you can't unsee it, right? But it had to be spelled out for me as well. So I'm sure a lot of people go through that, but that's kind of what makes you appreciate it more. There's it's not it's kind of like you say, it's not it's not made to be obvious. It's made to be discovered.
Yeah, and you will always, because I mean, most people they don't buy my artwork and they don't hang it. So most people, or I hope all people, if they hang it somewhere, in the office or in the living room, you can always tell the story to another person, and it's your version of the story. It's your version of why did you buy it, why you got interested, why is this something for you? Because I always keep in touch with my collectors as good as or in the best way I can, because today, as you said, there's Twitter, there's Telegram, there's WhatsApp, and people, we keep in touch, and they always tell me, "Oh, I showed it to my family," and they freak out, and they tell me sometimes there's one collector from Europe, and he said, "My kids love it." And the kids, they can't understand, but they have this pure view on this piece, and they will grow with it because it's in their home. I'm not too emotional, but that's what drives me to do the things I do. And also it's very hard as an artist to find something where you say, everything has been done, but to find something where you can have a glimpse of originality, and you say, I did this, and it grew, onto me as well. So yeah, that's why I'm quite happy where I'm today, because it's been quite a journey.
Yeah, it's the full experience of your art, right? It's not just the aesthetic value. It's the discovery, and it's that kind of aha moment, which, I don't know, for me personally, brings me back to the aha moment of Bitcoin. And I love what you were saying about I'm going to butcher his name, Croesus.
Krezos.
Krezos.
Yeah, Krezos. Yeah.
it's how remarkable it is that in, I don't know, 500 BC or whatever it is, that he was able to pull off creating this, what you called, I want to get your words because I like how you put it, the
first bimetal monetary system.
That's the one. How he created this pretty much out of nothing. And it's something I think about a lot with Bitcoin, where it's like, this is crazy. We're creating money out of thin air. But when you understand a little bit more about history, you understand how many of these stories that shape our society were created out of thin air, and specifically in this case, the original story of money being a shared story. And it's crazy now, but it was just as crazy then, and that doesn't take away from the validity of it. These stories have their way of taking hold and becoming real.
Yeah, but then you have this anti-hero of Satoshi Nakamoto, and he's not that king, that emperor who forces you to do this and that. You've got this pure kindness for the world, and you've got what's fascinating for me, and I hope I get it transferred good in my limited English, but it can only work if you believe in this system. And the last 12 years showed that many people believed in a system and not in the value just alone. I mean, it's very nice that it grew and it got so valuable, but if you take it back a notch, you will realize that it's actually a system which works because people believe in a system, and it grew in this kind of secret society. And I include myself today, but I just can imagine people get laughed at and spit on verbally, and still this belief was so strong that we are at a point today where we find a system which can really can change something. I mean, if you just look at from the funny side, and it is the funny side, I read an article here in Germany that if Bitcoin reaches a certain value, which I think it's around 200,000 euros, half of the billionaires in this world will be Bitcoin billionaires. And imagine these people who actually have this kind of money for a decade and maybe use it for something really good, which doesn't make sense, which doesn't make it more valuable, and buys them 5 planes and 6 cars. Maybe they do something really, really good, and this is something I believe which can disrupt our society, and it does. And I'm 100% believing it.
Yeah, I'm with you, and it's it just makes me think about the cycle of adoption, right? Like starting as a toy, a technology that some people geeked out on, maybe played around with enough to get a little early momentum, and then people started, it seems, I wasn't there, but started to really understand the merit of the system and how strong of a foundation it could create, and those people becoming diehard believers against all odds, against, I'm sure, tons, for sure. I do remember the criticism against early Bitcoin adopters, and frankly, I was one of them. When I first heard of Bitcoin, I thought it was crazy. I thought it would never work. Totally dismissed people who believed in it, to my detriment. But then it slowly, that foundation of strong believers, they kind of build on themselves. The people were so enthusiastic about it that they can't help but to share it with other people. And, it's gained, the narrative all along the way has become stronger. It's become easier to communicate to other people the value of this, and especially with what's going on in our society since then, right? Financial crisis being the start of it, but now with COVID and the endless money printing, it's become easier for people to understand the narrative around Bitcoin and grasp onto that. And now it's, we're getting to the point now where it's, it's the institutional stage, right? Where it's the institutions are seeing it, and they're driven by profit, and they're driven by greed in some cases, and so are a lot of the individuals who adopt it. But that's what's so beautiful about the system, is that you act in your own self-interest, your pure kind of just, ugliest self-interest, but in a way that has potential to improve, society overall. And it's, we're seeing the institutional wave now, and, you just connect the dots, and it seems crazy to look several dots out ahead, but when you just play them out dot by dot, like, it's not crazy to see nation states starting to adopt this thing and it becoming just totally ubiquitous.
Yeah, and the people who buy my artwork, they just manifest this idea by just hang it on the wall. And it's if you don't know what it's about, you won't see the money paper, you won't see the typography. It's going to be almost a decorative piece, but it's their little secret, first and all. That's what I like too. If the people appreciate my artwork and they buy it.
So I feel like we've talked a lot about already the inspiration of this piece, but can you tell us, like, what was the moment where you decided like, this is the piece I want to create?
As I said, it's always a whole process. So I wanted to tell a story from the start to the end, but there isn't actually there isn't a 0.0, and there's not a 100%. So I chose to start my story, or this story, with Croesus, and of course I had to tell the story till today, and till maybe this next chapter. And if you see this diptych, this 2-piece painting, individual paintings, I also chose, almost in a childish way, to frame it in a blue frame and in a red frame. And many of you, or of us, because we are all nerds and geeks, it reminds, of course, of the Matrix, and the choices you can have and the choices you can do, which isn't forced on you. And if you're 100% honest to yourself, because we still live in this world, you are sometimes, some days you're a little bit more blue, and hopefully most days you're more red. But to give the viewer and the people the kind of choice to listen to my story, but to take it further, I made a 2-piece painting so they can look at it every day, and hopefully they put it next to each other and just have this choice. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And you showed me the making of these frames. Do I understand correctly? Tell us a little bit more about these frames, because I know you put a lot of effort into creating these. Yeah,
I was dreaming. I was dreaming about this acrylic case I wanted to build, and I didn't know how to realize it, because this material is quite difficult to handle if you don't have the right tools. And I talked to companies, and I talked to people. Do you know anybody? And from out of nowhere, I was talking to a guy, and he showed me something made of acrylic, of plexi. It's called, in German, it's called Plexi, the company who makes this plastic, or this material. And I said, where did you do that? And he said, well, there's this crazy guy, and he's crazy too, and you should talk to him. And I called him immediately. I went to his factory. It's a small factory, and I saw something in the corner shining, and I said, are you fucking kidding me? And he asked, what? And I said, this is exactly the material and the look I was dreaming of. And this guy, Florian, also shout outs. He's on his way on the Autobahn in Germany, but he will watch this video. And he builds, how do you call them? Aquarium tanks for fishes.
Yeah.
and he builds them in the biggest sizes, like you have him in Las Vegas, and the big tanks. And he said, let's do something crazy and let's put it over the top. And then we came up with this. And as you can see, even the screws are in color. And I think it worked out pretty beautiful. And, because I mentioned Leo and I mentioned Zitra and I mentioned Ikaiza and I mentioned Florian, you see, as an artist, it's really necessary to agree and to tell the people that it's always a collaboration. It's easy to buy paint and it's easy to buy material, but it's not easy to find people who are right-minded and who are, who are collaborating on your ideas. Because for me, art is an idea first and the most important thing, and everything else is just craftsmanship to make it beautiful. But everything you show, Chris, it started really in my mind as a dream, and to have this now in 3D and in material is just amazing for me too.
It's so cool. I love hearing that. That started with a dream, and you find a guy who makes fish tanks for Vegas to make the dream come true. It just shows how thoughtful and how much effort you put into this thing. It's just beautiful. I love the way it turned out. It's absolutely gorgeous. Sorry, I just wanted to say, looking at these two images next to each other, wow! I wish you've made it a dream of mine to have this type of wall space. I can imagine these sitting next to each other in real life. They just have such a presence. They're so beautiful.
Well, we are still all early, and you're really a big motivator, and you and also Arian, you're a huge engine for me to spread the word. And I'm so, because I tweeted it a few weeks ago. We started with a few people. We have this urge to show our art, of course, but we are this. It's not a gang, but it's also this kind of collaboration. All I receive is really appreciation and love, and it's really great. So whenever Scar City office has wall space, I told you I will make it more colorful and dedicate, of course, a piece for it.
That's awesome, man. Well, like you had to give shout outs to all the people who helped you with this work, we have to give major shout outs to everybody who's been a part of Scarce City. And there's been a lot, the artist community all along the way. And of course, we're standing on the shoulders of the Bitcoin art OGs who've been creating Bitcoin art, just out of pure passion from the very beginning, and experimenting with the technology and just helping everybody understand what's possible here.
And you have this side of artists, which is great because it inspires you and it pushes you. And as I said, I don't want to be too dramatic, but it's also the love in this community. But I also have to say that the collectors, or the true collectors, who really they contact you and they love your art, they like your art, they want to know more about it, they want to bond just with you as a person, but also to connect with you is just amazing. And if we are into shout outs, there are actually two collectors I want to mention, and hopefully this video will stay forever. There's first and all, there's Physique. He's part of our community, but I told him also, without him, it was this initial, how do you call it when you sparkle or something?
Spark,
it was the spark, and everything changed for me from that moment. When I got a tweet, I sent out a tweet with an artwork of mine, Physique. He bought a few pieces, but he opened so many channels for me. I got to know people. Also, he's also in the secret groups. It's absolutely amazing that we get this, not just monetary, also this support from the collectors. which I think is as important. I couldn't do this just for myself. I'm not so selfish, and I like my art and I love to see it in the studio, but I want them also to to be out and inspire other people.
100%. It's the collectors, they're the ones that are fully appreciating this artwork and understanding what, I think is kind of the long-term significance of this stuff. If Bitcoin becomes what we hope and expect it to be, like this artwork that you guys are creating today, like this is going to be iconic stuff. And I think it's the collectors, especially the Zeke, who has just been way ahead of this and fully understands this and therefore values this art.
I called him the Jerry Saltz of our society, of our community, because he just gets it. Yeah, he just gets it. But there's also, he's called M.BTC, and he's also a collector of mine. He bought immediately the cover piece from Citadel 21 I made, and these people they buy these artworks and they pay in Bitcoin, and they did that years ago. And to trust me and to pay me with something which is so much more worth today is just it changed a lot for me. I was able to do more expensive pieces and to do or realize artworks I was dreaming of. And you see today I got, as I told you, I got this notch up even for my standards, because I'm really, really, really happy for this. Oh, I see Cryptographity is bidding.
Speaking of Bitcoin art OGs and collectors, Cryptograffiti with the current top bid of 2 million sats, the ultimate stamp of approval when you have Cryptograffiti bidding on your artwork.
Yeah, he's also a guy
Rare Skrill Auction Killer, another one.
Yeah, I contacted Cryptograffiti once, and he was so kind. We talked an hour on the phone, which helped me also a lot. Getting further. And as I said, this whole group, also Rare Skrilla, I contacted him in his own Telegram group, and he was kind to also promote all this. So all I can say, I'm really, really thankful that there are these good people outside.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like there's no coincidence here that this movement kind of became a thing. It started with people like Cryptograffiti, who was, I love his story of just showing up at a Bitcoin conference with his artwork because they wouldn't return his call. I'm abbreviating the story, but it was something like that. Because no one had, any kind of inkling of what Bitcoin art was or the purpose of it. And he had the bravado to just get it out there and, put tons of effort into showing his artwork to people. And there's so many people like yourself who, when they were getting started, they all have this story of having a conversation with Cryptograffiti. He just made himself available to anyone who was interested in the movement. And, it's people like him who really made this thing happen and just kind of laid the groundwork brick by brick.
Yeah, I remember I went to a Bitcoin blockchain conference 2 years ago, and to Malta, and showing my artworks on different levels on this in the Hilton Hotel in Malta, where the conference was, with thousands of people and nobody really acknowledging the artworks. And the year after, I got invited too by also this great guy Eman Poulis, who's the organizer of this, and he only saw my artwork and he said, "Man, come over. I'll give you the platform." And the first year, nobody got interested. I had a good time. I went with Zitra there. He helped me a lot there too. And a year later, a piece of mine was auctioned there. So you see, if you get your foot into it, good things will happen. But there are a lot of times where it was different. So I know a little bit the ups, but I definitely know the downs.
Yeah, but it's like, going through those downs and pushing through that just shows your authenticity to this thing. Like that, you're in this for the art, right? Like, I mean, it's great that that there are collectors out there willing to pay for it, but like, and there's so many people who, they didn't have background in art, and it's like Bitcoin got their creative juices flowing and turned them into artists. And I think that just kind of speaks for itself of how powerful this movement is. All right. Well, let's check in on all the action. You got a bidding war now going on between Bitcoin art OGs
I think somebody wants to make a point,
yeah. Mark Honor. I mean,
also love the greatest guy ever. The greatest guy ever. I mean, I sound so American because but also, you don't know, but I used to live in the States in 2000 in California. So, and everything was awesome and everything was great. But this Marcus also, he's also an OG with this roller coaster guy and just kindness, and we chat sometimes, and I get to know him outside, the art world as well. And I can't imagine being in a better group than I'm now. So that's why, I also get offers from the side and all this platforms opening, but I get reminded, that nothing is really for free, and you have to earn your dues, and this is how I got raised. So this is what I started with you guys, and this is what I'm going to continue. So, and the people, as I said, we are growing each week or almost every week. Chris, correct me if I'm wrong. And it's a very democratic way to grow our group, and seeing that Nano is now part of us, and I don't know who's the latest, Chris.
Cripsy is the latest.
Cripsy, getting to know new people in this group and in this scene, and if I can be of any help, I'm there, and because I've just received so much support from the others.
It's the community that makes this all possible. So we're doing our job if we're staying true to the community, and that's always our goal. Not always easy, there's always challenges involved, but that's our North Star, so that's what we aim for. We'd be nowhere without the community support like yourself, and so grateful to have you involved, RYR, and to be auctioning off Explore, Exploit, Continuum. Before we let you go, where can people find out more about you to learn about what you're focused on?
Well, I used to have a website, but I don't like the idea of a website because it's for me too static. So I gave you the information. Just find me on Twitter and find me on Telegram. Contact me, and whenever people are interested in my art, I send them pictures or PDF of my artworks. And so far, so good. I'm so far. I think I don't have to use a website, and I like it to be more, on a daily. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, more on a daily basis, and every day people reach out to me, and yeah, I'm there. So RYR Artist on Twitter, it's RYR Studio on Instagram, and which I check every day, and yeah. And we have a awesome, beautiful Telegram group. If you get invited, be part of it.
Yeah, and we also have the Scarce City banter channel, which is open for anybody, and that's where we're following all of the updates. That's where we'll be following all the action with this auction. Which we keep it fun in there. We've got a good group, a lot of trash talking going on, a lot of creative stickers and gifts going around. We're even doing some Lightning Sat giveaways. So I'm sure you'll be interacting with the bidders here over the next 23 hours.
Yeah, there are bits and pieces of how this artwork got made. So If I were you, I would check out the banter group, because I mean, I will still post bits and pieces, how the frames were made, how the paintings look without the frame. So I like to share this stuff on the banter group in the following, what is it, 23 hours?
23 hours.
Yeah. Watch
Yeah,
out.
and you've given me a preview of all the footage out there. There's no shortage of good coverage. So look forward to seeing more of that come through. The banter link is here on the auction page at the very bottom here. Telegram scarce_city. RYR, thank you so much, man. This is such a pleasure. Really look forward to following this auction over the next 23 hours. We wish you all the best.
Chris, thank you. Thank Aryan. I hope I say his name correctly, but
you got it.
It's really a pleasure, and you make it so much easier for me, and I think for many other artists to find a voice in this world.
Absolutely, man. Well, yeah, again, man, we're just honored to be able to showcase artwork like this that tells such a beautiful story, and it's just so aesthetically beautiful. So thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. All right, for those of you who are still with us, about 23 hours left of the auction. You're going to have to go up against the Bitcoin art OGs on this one. They're fully appreciating the magic that RYR has created here. If you do want to place a bid, come down here and put how much you want to bid in sats. We've got these nice little toggle buttons to make it easy for you. This amount is how much you'll have to put up in collateral to place your bid. This is how we don't need any personal identifiable information from you. We got your collateral. That's what keeps people accountable here. And put your email address and a display name and place your bid. You also have the option to straight up put in 500,000 sats, and then you can just bid unlimited. You don't have to put down a deposit with each and every bid. And once the auction is over, everybody gets their sats back. So come show your love for RYR and this beautiful piece he created. I will also highlight that the final 15 minutes of the auction is what we call the hot zone. Any bids placed within those final minutes reset the countdown to 15 minutes. Auctions cannot end on a pending bid, and we stop accepting on-chain bid deposits at that time. All right, thanks for joining us. Hit me up on Twitter if you have any questions, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.